Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Listen and Learn. I'm Ben,
And I'm Anna.
and today we're diving into something I think a lot of you can relate to. You know, that feeling of wanting to just speak English smoothly,
Yeah.
without all the pauses,
Hmm.
without having to stop and search for the right word or just kind of like figuring out how to like keep a sentence going.
Yeah.
And if you've ever felt like your English flow gets kind of like a little bit stuck, like you're hitting a roadblock, you're in the right place, we're going to sort that out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's super common, Ben, right?
Oh, yeah,
Like for English learners at all levels. And like you might have this clear idea in your head,
totally.
but then getting it out in English fluently, that can be a real struggle.
Right. This is true.
So we're going to look at like why that
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
and then like what to do about it.
Exactly. And give you some super practical ways to just start speaking with more confidence and get that like really nice, smooth flow.
All right.
So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to first explore some reasons why we all kind of stumble and pause sometimes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to give you some techniques, like actual tools you can use to help you speak more continuously.
Cool.
And then finally, we're going to look at like how you can take this stuff and actually use it in your everyday life, like in real situations. Ready to dive in?
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So let's start off by thinking about those moments when we pause,
Mm.
when we just like, we just get stuck.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most like simple reasons and something that we can all probably relate to is just not knowing the exact word you need right at that second.
Yeah.
Like you just can't think of it.
Yeah.
Like it's just not there.
It's like right there.
It's so
It's
frustrating.
tip of your tongue and on the tip of your tongue. Oh, it's the worst. Have you ever had that happen?
Oh, all the time.
Me too, especially when I'm trying to like describe something or like explain something.
Yeah. And I know what I want to say, but I just can't come up with that one specific word.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy. And I remember one time I was trying to describe like this tool.
Huh?
Like I knew what it did, but I couldn't for the life of me remember what it was called.
Oh no.
And I just kept saying, like it's the thing you use, and then I would describe what it did.
Yeah.
And it took me like a whole minute to remember.
So frustrating.
The worst.
Yeah, totally. But sometimes it's not even that we don't know the word at all.
Right.
It's more about like how our brain gets to that word.
Yeah.
Especially if you're learning English, your brain might be going through this extra step of translating from your native
Or
language.
translating in your head.
Yeah. So you're thinking in one language.
Right.
And then you have to switch over and find the English words for it. And that takes time.
Right.
And that's what causes those pauses is like your brain taking this little detour.
Oh, it's like a mental detour. I love that. And like, especially if you're trying to speak quickly or you're in a conversation where you feel a bit pressured,
Right.
it can be really tough to keep up, with that translation going on in your head. It's
Yeah.
like your brain is doing all this extra work. It's no wonder we end up pausing and, feeling a bit flustered.
Totally.
Okay. So we've talked about like not knowing a specific word, and then we talked about translating in your head. But another huge reason why we pause is the fear of making a mistake.
Oh, yes.
Like the classic fear of messing up the grammar or saying something wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Or even like mispronouncing a word.
Oh, yeah.
I still do that.
Me too. I mean, who doesn't?
But it can make you so hesitant, like you're constantly second-guessing yourself.
Totally.
And then your brain is like checking and double-checking everything before you even let it out of your mouth. And that's where all the like ums and edas and those awkward silences come in. It's like your brain is hitting the brakes every few seconds.
Exactly. Like you're afraid to just let the words flow out naturally.
Right.
And I think that's super understandable because nobody wants to like sound silly or make a mistake.
Especially when you're trying to speak a new language.
Exactly.
It can be so intimidating. And I remember when I was first learning, I don't know, French, I guess.
Yeah.
I would like know the grammar, but I would still pause before speaking, just double checking everything in my head.
Right.
And it made me sound like so hesitant and unsure of myself.
It's like you lose that natural rhythm of the language and then it just doesn't flow as smoothly.
Right. And then you get even more nervous.
For sure.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Exactly. But, besides all those reasons, there's one more thing we really can't ignore.
Okay, what's that?
It's practice.
Ah, yes. Practice, practice, practice.
Or should I say, the lack of practice?
Okay, yeah.
Because speaking fluently, in any language, it's a skill.
Totally.
It's like playing an instrument or like playing a sport.
Uh-huh.
You have to practice it regularly to get good at it.
Yeah, it's like anything you want to get good at in life.
Exactly. So if you don't have many opportunities to speak English, it's going to take your brain a bit longer to find the words you need and put them together into sentences.
It's going to get rusty.
Exactly. It gets rusty.
Okay, so we've looked at some of those reasons why we pause. Gaps in our vocabulary, translating in our heads, fear of making mistakes, and just not enough practice.
Yeah.
Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about what we can actually do about it.
Yes, let's get practical.
What are some practical techniques we can use to speak more smoothly?
So one of the most fundamental shifts you can make is to start thinking in English.
Think in English, like all the time.
Yeah. Now, I know that might sound like a really big change.
That sounds scary.
It can feel scary at first,
Yeah.
but it's about training your brain to skip that translation step.
Right. Because we talked about how, if you're thinking in your native language and then you're translating to English, it takes time.
Exactly. And it creates those pauses. So instead of thinking in your native language first, you want to try to have that initial thought already in English.
Got it. So basically you're cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. And that can make a huge difference in your fluency.
So how do we actually start doing that? Like, how do we train our brains to think in English?
Well, one really simple way is to start by describing your everyday activities to yourself in English.
Oh, interesting.
So, for example, if you're making coffee in the morning,
Uh,
as you're doing it, you can say to yourself, I am grinding the coffee beans. I am pouring the water into the coffee maker. I am adding milk to my coffee.
so you're basically narrating your life in English.
Exactly. And it might feel a bit strange at first.
Yeah, like you're talking to yourself.
Yeah. But it's a really effective way to get your brain used to forming English sentences naturally.
It's like you're immersing yourself in English, even when you're alone.
Precisely. And you can do this with anything you're doing.
Okay, so like if I'm walking to the bus stop.
Exactly. You can say, I am walking to the bus stop. The sun is shining. I can see a lot of people walking on the street.
That's a great idea. It's like you're creating your own little English world.
Yes.
So another technique I've heard is about learning common phrases and sentence starters.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. So how does that work?
Well, these phrases are kind of like pre-made building blocks
Okay.
that you can use to start or continue a sentence. And they give you that extra time to gather your thoughts without having a long, awkward pause.
Oh, okay. So like a little buffer.
Exactly.
So give me some examples of what those phrases could be.
Sure. So you could say something like, that's a really interesting question.
Okay.
Or I believe that. Or let me see.
Oh, I know.
So they don't necessarily have a lot of meaning on their own.
Right. But they give you that little bit of time to think about what you want to say next. And it keeps the conversation flowing.
Exactly.
So instead of just like a dead silence,
Exactly.
you've got these little phrases to fill the gap.
Exactly.
That makes you sound more confident and fluent.
For sure.
Okay, so what about filler words?
Filler words. Now, a lot of people, they try to avoid filler words like the plague.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, even native English speakers use filler words all the time.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Words like, actually.
You're making me self-conscious. I say like all the time.
Me too. We all do. And they're not necessarily bad.
Okay.
The key is to use them strategically.
Okay, so how do we do that?
So instead of having a long pause, you can use a filler word to give yourself a moment to think.
Got it. So like instead of just sitting there in silence, you could say, well, let me think about that for a second.
Exactly. Or you could say, actually, I was just thinking about that.
Right. So it just makes the conversation smoother and more natural.
Precisely. And it shows that you're still engaged in the conversation, even if you need a moment to process.
Cool. Okay, so we've got these techniques. Thinking in English, learning phrases, and using filler words wisely.
Yep.
But how do we actually put this stuff into practice, like in real life?
Okay, well, one really effective technique is called shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah, shadowing. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know what it is.
Okay, so basically what you do is you listen to a native English speaker.
Okay.
And you try to repeat what they're saying at the same time.
Oh, wow. So you're like their shadow.
Exactly. You're their shadow.
That's cool.
And you try to copy their rhythm, their intonation, their pronunciation.
So it's not just about the words, it's about like the music of the language.
Exactly. The music of the language.
And how do you find people to shadow?
Well, there are lots of resources online.
Oh, good.
Like, you could use TED Talks.
Oh, yeah, TED Talks are great.
They're great. The speakers are usually really clear and engaging.
Yeah. And they talk about all sorts of interesting things.
Exactly. So you can pick a talk that you're interested in,
Uh-huh.
listen to a sentence, pause it, and then try to repeat it exactly as you heard it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
It's like you're training your mouth to make the sounds of English.
exactly.
And it's fun because you're learning about something interesting at the same time.
Exactly. And it's also a really good way to improve your listening skills.
Oh, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
So what else can we do to practice?
Well, another really effective technique is storytelling.
Storytelling, like
Oh,
making up stories.
well, not necessarily making them up. It's more about expanding on your answers and adding details.
Okay, so give me an example.
So let's say someone asks you, what did you do yesterday?
Uh-huh.
A very short answer would be, I studied.
Right. Very basic.
Very basic. But a more fluent and engaging answer might be something like, yesterday I studied for my English test. I was a bit nervous about it, so I spent a few hours reviewing the material, and I actually think I did pretty well.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds way better.
Right.
It's more interesting to listen to, and it gives you more opportunity to practice speaking fluently.
Exactly. And it helps you to connect your ideas in a more natural way.
So instead of just giving short, choppy answers,
Yeah.
you're creating a little narrative.
Exactly.
And that helps you to speak more smoothly and confidently.
Absolutely. And if you happen to get stuck on a word while you're telling your story,
Uh-huh.
don't panic.
What do?
Just explain what you mean in a different way.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it's like having a backup plan.
So, like, if I forget the word for ice cream,
Yeah.
I could say, it's the cold, sweet treat that you eat in the summer. It comes in flavors like chocolate and vanilla.
Exactly. And even though you didn't say the word ice cream,
Yeah.
the other person still understands what you mean.
And you kept the conversation flowing.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of techniques and practice strategies,
Mhm.
but what about the nervousness?
Oh, yeah. Nervousness. That can be a big problem.
For sure. Like, even if you know all the techniques and you've been practicing, sometimes you just get nervous and you freeze up.
Totally. And that nervousness can really contribute to pausing and hesitation.
Absolutely. So how do we deal with that?
Well, the first thing to remember is that fluency is not about speaking fast.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of people think that speaking quickly means you're fluent.
Yeah, it's a common misconception.
Yeah.
But actually, when you try to speak too quickly, you're more likely to make mistakes.
Right.
And then you have to pause to correct yourself.
So it's actually better to slow down and focus on speaking clearly.
Exactly. Clarity over speed.
Clarity over speed. I love that.
And it will actually make you sound more fluent because your words will be easier to understand.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Another good tip is to record yourself speaking.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people hate hearing their own voice.
It's so cringy.
It can be cringy, but it's really helpful
Yeah.
because it allows you to hear yourself the way other people hear you.
Right. And it can help you to identify those moments where you tend to pause or hesitate.
Exactly. So you can work on those specific areas.
So what's a good way to practice recording yourself?
Well, one simple exercise is to choose a topic that you're familiar with, like your favorite food.
Oh, like pizza.
Like pizza, exactly.
Okay.
And set a timer for 1 minute
Oh,
and just talk about pizza for 1 minute without stopping.
and just see what happens.
And then listen back to the recording and see how you did. Did you pause a lot? Did you speak clearly? Did you sound confident?
That's a great idea. It's
Yeah.
like giving yourself a little speaking test.
Exactly. And it can really help you to track your progress.
Okay, so what about speaking with other people?
Oh, yeah. That's the best practice of all.
For sure.
I mean, there's no substitute for real conversation.
Right.
And luckily, nowadays, there's so many opportunities to practice speaking English online.
Like what?
Well, there are apps like Tandem, HelloTalk, and Speaky.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
They're great because they connect you with native English speakers from all over the world.
So you can practice speaking with people from different cultures and backgrounds.
Exactly. And it's a really fun way to learn about different accents and dialects, too.
That's awesome.
And even just having short, regular conversations can make a huge difference in your fluency.
So you don't have to spend hours and hours practicing every day.
No, not at all. Even just 15 or 20 minutes a day can be really beneficial.
That's great news.
So to wrap up all of this, I think we need to give our listeners a challenge.
Okay, I love a good challenge.
All right. It's called the 2-minute talk without pausing challenge.
Okay, tell me more.
So basically, you choose a simple topic,
Okay.
like your favorite movie or your favorite hobby.
Got it.
Set a timer for 2 minutes,
Oh.
and then you just talk about that topic for 2 minutes straight without pausing.
Whoa.
I know, it sounds tough.
It does. But I like it.
And if you do need to pause to think, that's okay.
Oh.
Just use a filler word to keep the conversation flowing.
Right, right, right. So like, um, eh, you know,
Exactly. And don't worry about making mistakes.
just keep talking.
Just keep talking.
Okay, so like, for example, if I was doing the challenge and my topic was my favorite movie,
Mm-hmm.
I could say something like, one of my favorite movies is, The Lord of the Rings. It's such an epic adventure story. And I love the characters. They're so well developed. And the special effects are just amazing, like so realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you really feel like you're in Middle Earth with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see how you use those filler words to just keep the sentences going.
Yeah, it's like they're little bridges between my thoughts.
Exactly. And the more you practice this, the more natural it will become.
So to sum up all the amazing advice we've talked about today,
Uh-huh.
I think the key takeaway is that speaking English fluently, without all those unwanted pauses, is definitely possible. It just takes some effort.
Yeah, and a bit of patience.
Yeah, be patient with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results overnight.
Totally. And celebrate those small wins, like when you manage to use a new phrase or you notice that you're pausing less often.
Absolutely. And remember, the goal is not to be perfect.
Right.
The goal is to communicate effectively.
And to have fun while you're doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So keep practicing, keep learning, and keep talking.
And before we go, we have one final thought and a challenge for you.
Okay, hit me with it.
Why don't you try talking about today's topic? All the techniques for speaking English without pausing for a full 2 minutes without stopping.
Whoa, that's a good one.
I know, right? And remember, use those filler words if you need to. Don't let the fear of silence hold you back.
This is going to be a great exercise for everyone listening.
And it's a perfect way to put everything you've learned today into action.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
And we hope you learned some valuable tips to help you speak English more fluently and confidently.
And until next time, keep practicing and keep talking. We believe in you.
We do.